You may be thinking from the title of this video, Frank Ocean. And yes, I'm pretty much going to say everything that everyone else has already said, but that's okay. Don't skip away. What I want to talk about today is why Frank Ocean disappeared and why we should even still care. Okay, a lot of people know Frank Ocean right here. This album, Frank Ocean, as a amazing artist, an absolutely amazing artist. But Frank has basically disappeared. No interviews, no new albums, no plans of an album, no posts, no big appearances, nothing. And Coachella 2023 just made everything even more confusing. But somehow, even years after silence, people still talk about Frank, and they talk about him like he actually dropped something or actually has something to bring to the table in the big 2-5, which is not true. And that's what I want to talk about today. His disappearance actually made him one of the most franchising artists alive. And let me tell you why. The first part, we're going to talk about the disappearance, okay? Let's rewind just a little bit. So it's 2016, and within 48 hours, Frank drops Endless and Blonde, 2 masterpieces, 1 visual, 1 emotional, and then leaves, packs his bags, and leaves. No tour, no press run, no big rollout. He basically fulfills his record deal, goes independent, and dips, never to be seen again. Most artists would kill for that type of hype, but Frank walked away almost immediately. And the craziest part of it to me is that his silence didn't make people forget about him. So there had to be something about Frank Ocean, something like a glimmer of hope that people see in Frank in order for them to still be interested and still be somewhat trying to be involved in Frank's music career. And anytime Frank does anything, even just a random Instagram post, people go crazy. Absolutely bonkers. He'll post a picture of like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and everybody would go, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, Frank is still alive. Frank is here. Maybe this is the new album. Maybe it's going to be called Pillsbury Doughboy. I don't know. Maybe pancakes for breakfast. I don't know. But people absolutely lose their head. They lose their mind at something. And even just that glimmer of hope where they're like, oh, Frank Ocean. Where they're like, oh, Frank Ocean's back. Frank Ocean is back with a whole new perspective. He's taking pictures of the Pillsbury Doughboy and posting them. It's got to mean something. And then people will go into like cryptic mode and figure out what grocery store he went to buy that at, what he actually bought, how many he bought, and what he did with the things that he bought. People are absolutely wild, crazy, and especially for Frank Ocean. Now, okay, let's get into the age of overexposure. We live in an era where basically everyone and every artist has to be a content creator. I don't care. You go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you go on literally any form of social media, and you'll see one person at least making some video towards something. I mean, hey, look, I'm doing it right now. And you're expected to post daily, stay relatable, give fans the content updates if you're an artist. And we know what our favorite musicians eat, who they date, what their house looks like. Everything's out there. You can search up Taylor Swift new house in Bahamas, and it'll show you exactly the address for everyone to see, which I think is actually wild. But what I think sticks out about Frank Ocean is that he did the opposite. He made silence part of his image. So while he may post about the Pillsbury Doughboy, it's not giving everyone everything they want, need, desire, ask for. Hey, here's my girlfriend. Hey, here's my next album rollout. Oh, here's exactly where I am at this moment. Here's who I'm hanging out with. Frank doesn't give any of that. He just posts because he wants to post. He's not a reliable poster or a content creator like most artists are today, where they post everything in their mom. But when everyone and every artist is screaming for attention like that, Frank does the opposite, and I think makes himself very interesting when it comes to his image. So, yeah, and this brings us to our next point, was the power of mystery. Ooh, the power of mystery. So Frank understands that, and a lot of artists do not understand this, that mystery is magnetic. So basically what that means is that when he creates something and he doesn't have an ending or doesn't have a middle or doesn't have a beginning, the fans automatically make it their whole life goal to figure out what's going on, to 100% say, oh, here's the gap that I need to fill in. Here's what I need to do to accomplish something and acquire some sort of taste. I don't know. They start digging into theories, into old Tumblr posts. They reanalyze his lyrics, build entire communities trying just to decode his work. I was like on Reddit doing some research for this, and the amount of people that are on there in Reddit threads and are on there in just talking about nothing, and they think they're talking about everything. It's like, oh my gosh, it's almost like the Swifties, where it's like 13's her favorite number, and it just so happens that track 7 and track 6 are right next to each other and add up to 13. I was not talking about the 6-7 joke. And they add up to 13, so it's got to mean that track 6 and track 7, and also track 5 and track 8, and the list goes on and on and on, have got to be her favorites because they add up to 13. Like, are you actually stupid? Are you dumb? That doesn't mean anything. It's just numbers next to each other in a sequence. Like, don't look that hard into things. Anyway, okay. Again, Frank Ocean, fans do it. I do it. We all do it. And it's not that he doesn't care, is why we have to put things together. It's that he curates what he shares. He only shares what he wants to share because he realizes that the people will make assumptions and make theories and make communities that end up boosting his image. So at this rate, we may not ever get another Frank Ocean album, which is kind of sad. He makes fans participate in the mystery of what's going on, which I think is super cool, but also like, come on, Frank, why are you doing this? And because of all this, his music doesn't just feel personal, but it feels sacred. Like it feels like you don't just listen to Frank, you experience what he's trying to get across the table because you feel like you're a part of the project. You're participating in finding out what Frank is trying to say. The next section is titled Why We Still Care. And I hope you still care too. There's a lot going on right now in the world. There's a lot happening, but I can always put on my headphones and get to work, do some sort of school assignment, and listen to Frank Ocean, Tyler the Creator, Daniel Caesar with his new album, Son of Spurgey, which is absolutely amazing if you haven't heard it yet. Just listen to the music and completely escape. And that's why I care so much, is because even though it's been so long since that album or since Blonde, I still feel connected, and it feels personal in a way that I just can't explain, and it's hard to understand unless you understand Frank's music in a way that it is meant to be understood. Yeah, even though we don't have, it's almost like I hear this from like old boomers all the time that are like, it's not the quantity, it's the quality. I think this is so true in Frank Ocean's music because we may not have a lot of his music, okay? But it's the experience, and we can re-listen to it and find another thing that we find interesting, or find another thing that we want to listen to, and we don't have to keep begging anymore. We have what we need. Just keep listening to it, find new things. I mean, at some point, it's gonna get annoying not having Frank music, but I don't really care at this point. He has already made it clear that no matter how much begging, you never get more music, and so all the people... Oh my gosh, I did not mean to yawn. Okay, all the people who are like, hey, Frank needs to drop another album. Frank needs to drop 2 albums for all the time that he hasn't, whatever. One of his last songs he dropped was In My Room. A lot of people have not even heard that song because they don't actually like Frank Ocean. They like TikTok that promotes Frank Ocean. But the fans of Frank Ocean realize that even though we don't have a lot, I think this forces us to listen to the art more seriously and curate it in ways that we can listen to on a day-to-day basis. Like, there's no constant noise about anything, and I think that's the loudest thing that speaks, because there is a message that's always been given. So I know that probably didn't make any sense. Let me break it down. So since Frank is not posting all the time and Frank is not giving us what we want, it's creating chatter in online communities. It's creating discourse between people on Reddit, people everywhere talking about Frank Ocean. And that's why he's still, oh my gosh, I'm so sleepy. That's why he is still so prominent. Oh my goodness. He's so prominent because the message comes from the noise created by the people, because they want to participate in the plan that they think is happening. I know this kind of sounds stupid, but you hear a lot of videos on Frank Ocean, and you hear a lot of videos on everything involved with Frank Ocean. But I don't know. I feel like I could watch another one, watch 3 more, because every single time I feel like I learned something else. And this isn't a history video. This is just my analysis on it. Now, the only negative thing I can think of from Frank Ocean and kind of everything he's doing right now is that there is a cost of silence. On the downside, when Frank came back for Coachella, people expected magic. In 2023, when he was at Coachella, it was terrible. It was messy. The live streams got canceled. The performance was late, and all the fans felt let down. Honestly, the moment just shows how much people care, and the expectations were all the way up here, and he severely did not meet the mark, and that's the weight of expectations in the long run, because we hadn't seen him in years. We hadn't seen him where he was, so we expected him to be here right when he dropped White Ferrari, Ivy, Nights, all of those songs, Pink and White, right here. But then when he was at Coachella, it was awful. It was so mid, and all the people that were there were severely underwhelmed. And even me just hearing about the situation, I was underwhelmed. And yeah, it's so well. But we gotta see that he's human. He was dealing with a lot. Came out that he was dealing with grief and perfectionism and the weight of expectation from others. And we gotta remember, when it doesn't go perfectly, we're gonna still forgive him, because he's human, and they know that the art behind it is real, even if it's something that is scarce to find, if that makes sense. At the end of the day, Frank Ocean has taught us a lot. Frank Ocean has taught us to care about art and not just music in this common age, and that's something rare. That's something super rare in a community and an age where we're fueled by short form content that is really destroying our brains. Honestly, I mean, I make reels all the time, but they honestly are hurting our patience and hurting our attention spans. And that's exactly what Frank Ocean's talking about in his songs, and why he hasn't done what the world wants him to do, because he feels that it's different. But lastly, you don't have to overshare to make an impact. You don't have to live online. I don't know who that is. You don't have to be and live online to feel connected with a fake group of people that you may call your friends. And his silence reminds us that art can breathe, that their mystery is still alive, it still matters, and sometimes the loudest thing you can do is say nothing at all. And honestly, maybe that's why we still care. Thank you guys for watching to the end. I know this is probably just me talking and posting it on YouTube, but honestly, it was super fun. I like talking about it. I like talking about the mystery. I know it seemed like maybe it was a little bit of clickbait. I don't know. It's just helping you understand and helping you listen to all the sides of the story and all the ends of the spectrum. And I think it's super cool. So if y'all enjoyed it, you can like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you want to do. I really don't care. I'm just doing this for fun. So, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about next. It can be funny, it can be silly, it can be serious, it can be music, it can be a common topic. on the news. It can be a common topic from 10 years ago on the news. It could be memes. It could be video games. I don't care. Let's just talk. Let's talk it out. And let's, keep chatting. All right. See you guys later. Peace.